All right, so this is a quick little video that is going to show you where to find your data to start the project. It is not going to walk you through any of the processes of the project. I have a specific example for that. This is just going to show you where to find the data. So once you're in ArcGIS Pro, go ahead and click New Project, Map, and give it a name. You can call it Election Statistics or whatever you would like. And then go ahead and click OK to create a project. I already did that. So here's the blank map that I'm going to start with when I open up a new project. Then the data set you need is on ArcGIS Online. To access it, you're either going to have a catalog tab open from the last time you used the program, or if you don't have that open, you can go to View. And then there's catalog pane and catalog view. Catalog pane is this one on the side. Catalog view will actually open it on top of your map, and I'm not a fan of that, so I just do catalog pane. So you start off on the project tab. This is where you would access any layers you create throughout the project, but we're going to go ahead and go to portal. And you start in your content. We're going to go to ArcGIS Online, which is the cloud. And I want you to type in GSS, Geospatial Semester, Election, and 2024. That is the tag I used when I created the layer. So it's called Presidential Election Results by County 2020. Right click on it and click Add to Current Map. It's going to take a minute to load because it's pulling from ArcGIS Online. You are actually going to right click on this layer. You are going to go to Data, Export Features, and you're going to create your own copy of this layer. Right now, it's still in ArcGIS Online. You can't edit it, but as soon as you save it, and I would probably call it election stats. And click OK. It's going to export for you. And then you actually don't need this layer from ArcGIS Online anymore. If you're ever curious where your layers are from, you can click this canister, which is list by data source. It'll show you right here if it says services ArcGIS Online. That is obviously from the portal. And then users and ArcGIS projects, that is something that you have exported and created. So you can go ahead and remove this layer. To look at the attribute table, you're going to right click on the layer and you're going to go to attribute table. And I want you to note that you have the total vote count for Democrat, Republicans, and then you have the percent. I went ahead and calculated the percent for you just to make sure everybody's starting in the same spot. So you're either going to model a Democratic vote count or you're going to model a Republican vote count. And it doesn't matter which one you pick. But essentially what you're going to do throughout this project is you are going to try to come up with a model based on some variables that will, demonstrate this number. It will calculate this number. Now, it's not going to be exact. Modeling never is, but we're just going to go through the process and see what you guys come up with. So in order to access symbology, I left clicked on this box and it opened up format polygon symbol. I'm going to click this back arrow and go from single symbol to graduated colors. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the percent Republican vote. So this is what I'm trying to model, these numbers from 3 all the way up to 96%. At this point, you are done with this layer. You are going to join some layers to it later before you run your tests, but you are basically done with the layer at this point. So I would go ahead, close your attribute table, save. That's up here, upper left. And then we're going to go back to the catalog to start the project to actually find some data. So again, we're in the portal. we're going to stay in ArcGIS Online. I'm going to give you a couple layers I think that would be good for you. You can use County Health 2020. Remember, we're looking at 2020 right now. We're not at 2024. We will be later on. So this County Health Rankings 2020 is actually the layer I use in my model, or my example that I'm going to go through in the videos. But that's one good one to start with. You can also type in ACS, American Community Survey. And then it's going to give you all of these different layers. So let's say you wanted to look at educational attainment. That's right click, add to current map. And what you're going to notice with both of these layers is that they're actually grouped layers. You can tell because it has this little drop down. So this group is state, county, and census tract. The county health ranking is country, state, and county. Right now, the state layer is visible on both because of the level of zoom. If you zoom in and out, it'll actually change the visibility, but we don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to right click on this county layer under county health rankings and go ahead and open up the attribute table for it. You can very quickly see that there are a lot of fields. You can tell by how small this scroll window is. And I could scroll, but that's really hard to read. So I'm actually going to right click on any of these column heads, and it's going to open up this fields option. When I click on that, I can actually just scroll up and down and view the fields. And the nice thing is this alias tells you exactly what that field represents. So for example, here's the percent of low birth weight. Here's the numerator for that. Here's the denominator for that. And then it actually breaks it down by race if that's something you're interested in looking at. When you are picking your variables, please look for the percentages. That way you don't have to do any calculations. They are there for you, especially if you're using this county health layer. There are not as many percentages, I think, in the ICS, but I could be wrong. But anyway, so you are going to try to find, we'll say 10 variables to start with. You can do more if you'd like. I would not do any fewer than that because they're going to start dropping off pretty quickly as you run your tests, your statistics tests. Let's say like 10 variables that you think will model either a Republican or a Democratic vote. When you're in the fields view, you can actually click this button that says visible and it'll turn all the layers off. And then when I'm choosing my variables, make sure that you do keep the FIPS code, the 5-digit FIPS code, the state, and the county. You want those throughout your analysis. If you forget to click them at any point, you will lose them. You can get them back, but it's kind of tricky. So make sure you check those 3. And then let's say I wanted poor mental health days. I could just check that one. And every single one that I check, I have the option to save. So if I go up here and I click save, and I go back to my attribute table, it's only going to display the ones that I picked, and I picked those randomly. Let's say I want more variables. I right click again, go back to fields, and then I turn more on. Now you can go through this original layer, do this and export it, or you can, if you're finding that this is really making your computer slow, you can right click on the county layer and go to data, export features, and export it this way. Now, the reason why you would export the layer is it gets it out of ArcGIS Online and gets it into your project, and it'll just run a lot faster. You can do that before you start choosing variables. You can do it after you start choosing variables, but either way, you're going to need a couple of variables. It can be from one layer. It can be from multiple layers. If it's from multiple layers, you're just going to have to do a couple of joins. But we're just going to go with these 3 random things that I picked just to demonstrate what you're going to do. And then that's going to be the end of me helping you with your data set. I'm going to walk you through the project and future videos using a different data set. But okay, so here we go. We have our variables. I'm going to right click on county. I'm going to go to data, export features. And I'm going to call this health '20. Go ahead and export it. And it's only going to export the ones that are checked. So poor mental health days, low birth weight numerator, and low birth weight for Asian and Pacific Islander. Again, I literally wasn't looking when I clicked the button. I just clicked it a few times to give you an example. So it's going to go ahead and run that. It might take a minute because it is pulling from ArcGIS Online. Again, that's why we export it. Notice also that when I export it, it's only the counties. It's no longer all three of these grouped layers. And I really don't need them anymore once I have the variables I'm looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and close them. Regardless of whether you have one layer that you're pulling variables from or multiple, you are going to have to do a join. So here's my election statistics layer. I'm going to do the join to the election statistics layer. I'm just going to turn that off. There's a couple ways you can do the join. If you open up the attribute table for election statistics, I did give you the FIPS code, and it's a text, so that's great. And if you open up the table you just did, it also has a FIPS code, and it's text, so it should work. This should join perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on my election statistics layer. I'm going to go to joins and relates. I'm going to add a join. I'm going to drag this on the screen so you can see it. So here's the table I'm joining to. The input field is going to be the FIPS. What table are you trying to join in? I'm trying to join this Health 20 that I created, and my join field is also going to be FIPS. This time it's called a 5-digit FIPS code. Always validate your, always index and always validate your joins. So just click index joins, validate join. This is going to tell you how many matches you actually have. 3,113 out of 3,220. That could be Puerto Rico in one of the tables. I can't remember. I think one of them does have Puerto Rico. But let's check this out. Let's go ahead and click close. Let's go ahead and click OK to run the join. And then I am going to open up, wrong table. There we go. Open up the election table. First of all, make sure it didn't just put a bunch of nulls in. Only a few. Now, there's actually probably a lot of nulls in this category just because there aren't high percentages for Asian and Pacific Islanders in those counties. So really, I could check poor mental health days. This probably has the most values. I'm just going to double click on it to sort down. Double click to sort up. Yeah, every single one is or has a value. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the symbology to make sure that this will actually show. So I'm going to go over to my Health 20. I'm going to click on the green square. Then I'm going to go back, change it from single symbol to graduated colors. We did this already. And poor mental health days. Make sure everything is turned off besides the layer you're looking at. Oops, not that one. Election stats. Wrong layer. Election stats. I'm going to change this to poor mental health days. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the base map so I can see through it to see if there's any holes. I'm going to go to map. I'm going to go to base map. I'm going to go to dark gray. Zoom out, check out Alaska and Hawaii. Yeah, so we lost all of Alaska, and that's okay. Alaska essentially changes or has changed the way that their counties or provinces are named over time. Sometimes the FIPS code changes. So honestly, it's pretty common to lose Alaska when you do joins. It's okay. Not ideal, but if you have most of the contiguous United States, your model will run well enough for this project. All right, so that's where I'm going to leave you. You are on your own with this data set, but I will walk you through the process with an example. So see you in the next video.